What's up everybody, welcome back. So in today's video we're going to be taking a look at a Staraptor double water team in the Open Ultra League, basically featuring the brand new Community Day Gust Staraptor. And honestly this thing is actually really good as far as Ultra League is concerned. I've tried out Staraptor before as well in the Open Ultra League, obviously with Wing Attack, and obviously it's so much more better than it is in Great League because it just has that little bit more bulk to it. Even though it's still extremely glassy, it's definitely a lot more usable, right? And for this particular team comp, I'm going to be using Politoed. XL Politoed is the safe swap and Swampert is the closer. And honestly, this team ended up working out really well for me. I had like a couple of 4-in-1 sets with this team, and we were able to overcome most of the top threats that you'd commonly see in the Ultra League meta. And none of these Pokemon have the best PvP IVs. I mean, I just decided to use my 100% IV Staraptor because I'm probably eventually going to power it up for Master Premier Classic if it ever comes around. And as far as Politoed is concerned, you want to just get as close to 100% IV as possible so that you're spending the least amount of XL candies on it, which is why I just went with what I had. So anyways, there's some really fun battles in here, and let's get straight into it. So moving on to the first battle here, we have Staraptor into an Abomasnow. Honestly, Abomasnow is probably one of the biggest threats for this team. This thing is an absolute co-breaker. It has the potential to beat all three of my Pokemon, right? Which is why I switch into my Politoed to catch the Weather Ball here. And obviously this is resisted. Luckily we didn't catch the Energy Ball, obviously. It was too soon to be an Energy Ball, and they make a switch into the Jellicent. So this is not looking good at all. Honestly, we got hard counter to the lead. And kind of, even though Jellicent isn't a hard counter for Politoed, it kind of is a soft counter, especially because I'm not running Legacy Earthquake on Politoed. So I'm going to build up to what would look like an Earthquake and go for the Weather Ball, for which we get a shield, which is massive. And that is huge, right? Again, Staraptor can work with a shield advantage. So I'm basically going to just spam out Weather Balls from this stage. I'm really hoping this is probably just going to be a Bubble Beam. And if it is a Bubble Beam, that's even better for Staraptor because, again, Jellicent can really do nothing against Staraptor, right? The best they can do is go for Bubble Beams. And basically, I can just come in with my Staraptor and probably even farm this Jellicent all the way down here. But anyway, I'm just going to try and chip away with as many debuffed Weather Balls as I can, just to make it easier for Staraptor to be able to farm down. So back in comes Staraptor here. I don't really have to shield anything. They already showed that they don't have Ice Beam. It's just going to be a Bubble Beam here. Just doesn't really do too much damage. And now they make a switch into the Nidoqueen. I bank a Brave Bird. We go into the Swampert. They had to give switch advantage there because, I mean, obviously if they'd stayed in that matchup, then Staraptor would have gained a bunch of energy. And obviously Staraptor with energy is an absolute threat against most of the backlines, right? Anyways, now I just let the Earth Power go through. This is obviously such a dominating matchup with Swampert, and I should be able to Mud Shot down. This is just going to be a Poison Fang here. It was too soon to be another Earth Power. As it is right there, and we're going to be able to come out of this matchup with a lot of energy, right? And I'm hoping that the Jellicent comes in because I want to get off an Earthquake, but obviously they're not going to come in with their Abomasnow. And if we had Sludge Wave, that obviously would be useful in this matchup, but obviously I think Earthquake is so much more better as far as Ultra League is concerned, right? So I'm just going to chip away with Hydro Cannon here. It doesn't do too much damage, but it's definitely going to add up. And now I can just basically come in with my Abomasnow. We get the come in with my Staraptor, I should say. We actually sneak the Gust through, which means that this Gust is going to KO. And back in comes Jellicent. I actually do decide to shield this up. Probably could have let this go through, but I just wanted to be safe anyways because Jellicent was still they're not close to another move, right? So I'm going to bait with Close Combat here. We get a shield with Close Combat, and now I'm just going to go for the Brave Bird, and this is going to one-shot, or at least from this range, just going to take out the Jellicent there. I mean, it was close. Honestly, if they had no shield in the Close Combat, it might have been a little bit closer. But obviously, most people are going to tend to shield in that situation anyways. Moving on to the next battle here, we have a Staraptor into a Scrafty, the Dream lead. You definitely want to catch Scrafty on the lead here. They make a switch into that Registeel. I'm going to try and get to this Close Combat just to force the shield or do big damage. And then I'm going to try and get out of here. I'm going to try and switch into my Swampert, and unfortunately ended up being a CMP tie. So I'm forced to shield this one. Obviously, Zap Cannon will easily one-shot. And now I'm just going to immediately go into my Swampert because I need to outpace Registeel to the next move, right? I'm just going to go for the Earthquake as soon as I can here because if they're going to be forced to either burn their final shield or pretty much it will one-shot the Registeel. They actually do shield that, which is fine. I'm just going to let it go through. They actually go for the Zap Cannon bait, but that makes sense. You need two moves anyways. And I'm just going to try and get to this next Earthquake as soon as I can. Unfortunately, because of the debuff, this will not KO. So that's actually smart play on their part, going for the Zap Cannon first, because if they'd gone for the Focus Blast first, then we would obviously... And this could be a Focus Blast. I'm going to shield this up. The reason I shielded is because I needed switch advantage. I want my Staraptor on their Scrafty. But yeah, it just ended up being a Zap Cannon, which we probably could have survived from that range. But because we're double debuffed, these Hydro Cannons are not really going to threaten that much against Scrafty. They're going to go for the Power Up Punch here, which is okay. We should be able to get off 2 Hydro Cannons, but like I said, Scrafty is extremely tanky as far as Open Ultra League is concerned. And as you can see, these Hydro Cannons are really not doing that much, right? I'm just trying to do as much as I can here. Basically going for another Hydro Cannon right now. Still does, I mean, puts this Crafty into the yellow, but it's going to make it probably a little bit easier for Staraptor to farm down. But then again, this boosted Foul Play is going to do quite a bit of damage against Staraptor. That does about 60% of Staraptor's health. They make a switch to their Jellicent. This is perfect. Hex is resisted. I'm able to get to a Brave Bird here. This is going to do massive neutral damage against Jellicent. And now I'm just going to switch in my Politoed, and Politoed should be able to close this out here. They're not going to get to 2 Shadow Balls right now. This is probably just going to be a first Shadow Ball. And Shadow Ball honestly doesn't even do 50% as far as in the Ultra League. So I can basically just go for the Weather Ball right now. This will KO the Jellicent. And then actually doesn't KO, but one more shot takes it out, and Scrafty has no energy in the back. And I think they kind of like probably force close the app or something, because yeah, or at least they stopped tapping, because we had that game for the most part there. So once again, as you can see, Staraptor doing insane damage. I mean, that Brave Bird did about 60 to 70% of Jellicent's health, which is pretty impressive, especially in the Ultra League there. Moving on to the next battle here, we have Staraptor into a Trevenant, the absolute dream lead. You'd love to see it. They make a switch into their Drapion, and at this point, you're almost sure that they're going to have a Trevenant in the back. It's almost like whenever they, a Walrein in the back, I should say. It's like the Trevenant Walrein core is probably one of the most common cores in the Ultra League, right? The dynamic duo. So yeah, that's fine. We can deal with the Walrein. Walrein is definitely a little bit of an issue for this team, but then again, when you have something like at this point, we have the matchups lined up perfectly. So we should be good for the most part here. I'm actually going to shield this because a Crunch would KO, but it ends up being an Aqua Tail, which we could have survived. Unfortunately, Trevenant's going to be able to come back in and farm down, but then again, we're going to do as much damage as we can with Hydro Cannon, right? Hydro Cannon is actually really going to add up against Trevenant, as you can see. Does almost a third of Trevenant's health, and I'm going to go for another Hydro Cannon here. And this Hydro Cannon actually, yeah, as you can see, just puts it into the yellow. Probably a couple of Gusts would take it out. I come in with my Staraptor right now, and just as they throw, which they throw on alignment, we managed to get another move through, which is fantastic. They actually end up going for Shadow Ball, which is double resisted, and they have a Regirock in the back. So I was assuming that they probably had a Walrein in the back, but in any case, that's okay. I mean, Regirock is probably even better for Politoed, and I'm just going to shield this up because I know I can get to the next close combat before they can get to one of the Stone Edge, and I just want to make them burn their final shield so that Politoed should be able to come in and basically close it out here. So, I mean, as you can see, even though Gust is resisted, it still does a ton of damage against a Pokemon like Regirock, right? Regirock is just so extremely tanky. But that's fine. I can just come in with my Politoed, and we're going to be able to Mud Shot down and take the win there. I mean, even if they had Zap Cannon, honestly, we could survive a Zap Cannon in the Ultra League, especially a non-stab Zap Cannon coming from Regirock. Moving on to the next one here, we have a Giratina. It's actually a positive lead, especially if they're running Shadow Claw. That's actually even better. This is really good for Staraptor because those Shadow Claws are double resisted, and also they throw an alignment allowing us a free Gust through. And I can actually safely no shield 2 Dragon Claws as long as I don't throw first, right? I'm just not going to throw. I'm going to look to get an extra energy there. As you can see, once again they throw an alignment, which means that we have so much of an energy lead right now. And I'm going to build up to almost 100 energy because I want a close combat ready to go to hopefully throw later. So I go for the Brave Bird, immediately switch into my Politoed right now, and this Giratina obviously has a little bit of an energy advantage. They're going to probably get off a couple of Dragon Claws here, but that is absolutely fine. Well, remember, we have a close combat banked on the Staraptor, right, which I can use probably later on there. They make a switch into their Cresselia. I can just go for the back-to-back Weather Balls here. This is obviously not a great matchup for Politoed, but we're going to be able to spam as many Weather Balls as we can. And one Grass Knot will probably not KO from this range. Again, I'm just going to get to as many Weather Balls as I can. Obviously, there was a little bit of lag there. But anyways, trying to get, again, chipping away against Cresselia, just not doing too much damage in any way. But yeah, this Grass Knot would probably barely not KO. As it doesn't there, I'm able to get to another Weather Ball as well. And this Weather Ball is actually going to put this Cresselia into Hydro Cannon range, which is actually, I mean, along with the Mud Shots, I immediately switch in my Swampert because I don't want the Cresselia to farm down the Politoed and gain a bunch of energy. So I'm going to obviously have to double shield here because we are upper shield. I'm just going to go for the Hydro Cannon right away. I'm expecting them to shield this because they're probably very close to another Grass Knot, which they do shield that is fine. I'm gonna have to give up the next shield as well because they should be able to outpace me to the next move because of the energy advantage they had. And I'm not gonna throw as soon as I get it. I'm expecting them to switch, but I'm just gonna do one extra to make sure they don't switch out. And I'm just gonna go for the Hydro Cannon here, and Hydro Cannon actually takes out the Cresselia from this range. And if the Giratina comes back in, I can just go for the Earthquake, right? We're gonna have to probably take a couple of Dragon Claws here, which is not that big of a deal. I'm hoping that whatever they have in the back is actually weak to store. But actually, I tried to sack the Politoed for no reason. And that actually kind of ended up costing me here, but they actually have an Obstagoon in the back. So I'm coming with my Staraptor. We're able to get to the close combat as well. Close combat will be one-shotting the Obstagoon there. Absolutely, I mean, destroys it. Giratina comes in, and this is where I kind of messed it up, right? I'm not sure if this Giratina is exactly in Hydro Cannon range. I think they're a little bit off the Hydro Cannon. So I'm just going to try and get to an Earthquake, but we lag just a little bit. Ends up sending an extra quick move through. Not really sure what happened there, and we end up losing that game. Probably, I mean, from once I did that extra Mud Shot, probably should have just thrown the Hydro Cannon, but I expect, I mean, obviously Swampert is supposed to get off that Earthquake anyways, but yeah, it was a little unfortunate there. So moving on to the next one here, we have Staraptor into a Giratina once again. We'll have to see if it's a Dragon Breath or Shadow Clutch. Actually, Dragon Breath, that's actually not ideal for Staraptor because we can't tank 2 Dragon Claws from a Dragon Breath Giratina because Dragon Breath is really adding up. So I'm going to tank 1 Dragon Claw here and then go for the Brave Bird as soon as I get it, and then immediately going to switch into my Politoed here. This Brave Bird will get the shield from Giratina because, I mean, obviously it will probably KO from that range anyways. And yeah, they're just going to stay in and fire off Dragon Claws, which is absolutely fine by me. The fact that they are not switching out tells me that they don't really have a hard counter to water types, which is actually really good for Swampert in the back. So I'm going to go for the Blizzard right away. This puts them in a tough spot. They either have to give up a shield or pretty much let Giratina go down, and they do. And they come in with their Swampert. Now, Swampert, by no stretch of imagination, is a counter to a Politoed because this is a pretty solid match of Politoed, right? Because those Hydro Cannons are resisted, and this tells me that they clearly have something else in the back which is weak to water. They probably have a Talonflame, right? It makes sense to have a Talonflame because that is their anti-Charmer to protect Giratina against Charmers, and also probably their anti-Grass to protect Swampert's weakness to Grass. So I think it would make sense as per the team comp to have a Talonflame in the back, in which case Swampert has a pretty clear path to sweep here. So I can just come in with my Swampert right now, and they do have a little bit of an energy advantage, so I'm going to definitely shield this up, and then I'm going to build up a little past the Hydro Cannon and then probably throw here. And just building up a little bit more, and they decided to concede the match. So they almost for sure had a Talonflame in the back, or they probably had a Nidoqueen. So one of these two anyways, but yeah. Moving on to the next battle here, we have Staraptor into a Giratina once again. And once again, it's a Dragon Breath Giratina, so not the most ideal situation, but then again, we're going to get shields, right? If they want to win this matchup, they have to give up a shield, and we're able to get to this Brave Bird. This time they don't throw, which is even better actually, because I can preserve a little bit more health on Staraptor and immediately going to go into my Politoed. Luckily, that wasn't a CMP tie, which is nice because, yeah, I mean, after that debuff, Dragon Claw would have definitely taken out the Staraptor there. Once again, they're actually staying in, right? This tells me once again that they don't really have a hard counter. Typically with Giratina leads, that is their best response to water types like Swampert, etc. That's probably, Giratina is probably their best Swampert counter. And typically most people tend to have Pokemon that are kind of weak to water or water ground in the back. So moving on, I mean, anyways, I just go for the Blizzard here. Just one-shots the Giratina as you'd expect. They obviously wouldn't give up 2 shields in that matchup. And they actually come in with their Alolan and Muck, which definitely isn't a counter to Politoed. But then again, we're looking absolutely brilliant right now, right? Because again, hopefully whatever they have in the back is also weak to Swampert here. And we still have a little bit of Staraptor just for that versatile coverage. Anyways, they make a switch into their Talonflame. And at this point, this game is over because I can just switch into my Staraptor to catch the Flame Charge. And Flame Charge will be taking out the Staraptor from this range. Actually, it doesn't. I think they undercharge that to get 1 extra Incinerate worth of energy. And I'm going to go for the Hydro, just overfarming a little bit more. Unfortunately, Flame Charge, I mean, Hydro Cannon does not KO a Talonflame in the Ultra League. But yeah, they do choose to shield that, and I'm going to shield this up as well. The reason I shield this is I just want to be safe. They were almost for sure going to bait anyways. And I'm going to go build up once again to 100 energy and then go for the Hydro Cannon here. Unfortunately, Hydro Cannon again doesn't KO. They're able to get to another move. I'm just going to shield this up because even if the Alolan Muck gets off a Dark Pulse will not KO from this range. They actually make a switch into their A-Muck, and I'm able to get to the Earthquake here. This Earthquake will absolutely one-shot the Alolan Muck. And then, yeah, Talonflame comes back in, and it's just in Mudshot farm down range there. So they were like extremely weak to water in the back, especially against Swampert. And when you have like Alolan Muck and Talonflame in the back, it's the best situation. So once again, met with the Trevenant in the lead. That is absolutely beautiful. They make a switch into their Swampert. I go into my Politoed, and the only thing I have to make sure in this matchup is that I have to shield the Earthquake correctly, right? If I shield the Earthquake correctly, I'm almost guaranteed going to win Switch Advantage, and winning Switch Advantage is absolutely crucial. So I'm going to shield this up. It could be an Earthquake. Luckily, they don't bait. Most typically in Ultra League, people tend to not bait because one Earthquake wouldn't KO anyways, and a lot of people wouldn't shield. But I choose to shield that because, I mean, I'm going to have to shield one of those anyways, and I don't want to end up shielding Hydro Cannons later. This is just going to be another Earthquake. That's okay. It is going to do quite a bit of damage. And I'm going to overfarm a little bit more and then go for the Weather Ball here. I need that extra energy to hopefully threaten a Blizzard against Trevenant when it comes back in. And Weather Ball actually takes out the Swampert there. Back in comes Trevenant. I'm going to try and get to a Blizzard, but I know I can't get to it. So I decide to pull the trigger on Weather Ball. And Weather Ball will actually get a shield from Trevenant. They probably thought that was a Blizzard. That is massive for me because I can just come in with my Staraptor right now. They have a Wall Rain in the back, and Wall Rain, like I said, is definitely a bit of a core breaker for this team as well. But I'm going to go for the close combat here. It actually connects for some massive, super effective damage. And honestly, even if they hadn't shielded that, I guess that was okay too, because Swampert with one Earthquake and a Hydro would probably be able to take it out along with the Mud Shot damage there. So moving, I mean, anyways, they're just going to stay in here, throw Icicle Spears. I'm just going to farm up as much as I can and then throw the Hydro Cannon before they can get to an Icicle Spear. I don't expect them to shield this, but in any case, they're in big trouble, right? Because Trevenant has 0 play against Staraptor. And I'm just going to go for the Earthquake here. This is almost going to do about 50% of Trevenant's health in spite of being resisted. And this is just going to put it into farm down range for Staraptor here. I don't really have to throw a move even. I'm just going to come in my Trevenant. Staraptor, I should say. We get the extra Gust through. I can just let one of these go through. I mean, we can easily survive one of those. I'm going to shield this up. And then, as you can see, they throw an alignment again, allowing me to get another move through. And at this point, we're just going to be able to farm down there. So even if they'd gotten off another Seed Bomb, that probably wouldn't have KO'd from that range. So I guess we were good there for the most part. Moving on to the next one here, we have Staraptor into a Giratina once again. We'll have to wait and see if it's Shadow Claw or Dragon Breath. It is Shadow Claw, which is really nice for Staraptor here. So it's the same game plan. I'm just going to farm up to 100 energy and then throw. Basically, after soaking up 2 Dragon Claws here. Yeah. I'm just going to let this go through again. We can easily survive this and also the Shadow Claws thereafter. And I'm just going to try and farm up as much energy as I can and go for the Brave Bird just before they can get to a Dragon Claw, because I need to be able to switch out as well to hopefully catch a move, right? I go into my Politoed. They are still staying in. Now they make a switch into their Tapu Fini. Now Tapu Fini is obviously another really solid pick for the Ultra League. Actually not the best matchup for Politoed, especially with this moveset. If I had Earthquake, I would hit for neutral. But I just decided to build up to the Blizzard and bait with Weather Ball, which they don't fall for it, but that's okay. We're just going to, at this point, just try and chip away with Weather Ball here. I'm not even going to try to get to an Earthquake. And I'm just going to let it go through. I mean, I'm just going to hope that they bait with Surf, which they do, which is massive for me. This is huge. The fact that they decided to bait is huge, right? I mean, yeah, I guess they're probably better off going straight Moonblast anyways. And because these water guns are adding up, I'm expecting this to just be another Surf, which it is. If it is, we're going to be able to get to 2 more Weather Balls, right? Which is really nice. Politoed is able to get to the first Weather Ball here. And again, as you can see, these Weather Balls are really starting to chip away on the Tapu Fini. And I'm able to get to another Weather Ball as well. This will take out the Tapu Fini if they no-shield this. And yeah, which they... I mean, they actually do let that go through, which is nice. And now I basically counted my Swampert because I didn't want the Giratina to farm down my Politoed. But I guess they were trying to throw right away, in which case I probably could have soaked it up as well. But that's okay. Swampert should be able to clean up anyways. I go for the... I shield the second Dragon Claw because I need to start shielding something. We still have 2 shields. I'm going to let this go through here. This Giratina has so much energy right now, which can be a little bit dangerous. I'm going to try and build up a little bit more and try and go for the Earth. I was just trying to go for the Hydro Cannon here because... I don't think Hydro Cannon will KO once again. It just puts it extremely low. But I'm going to be able to farm down and Mud Shot down and gain a bunch of energy. And also, we have a move on Staraptor as well. So I'm hoping that whatever they have in the back, we can deal with it. It's actually a Snarl Grand Bull, which can be a little bit of a tricky spot here because I'm going to go for the first Hydro Cannon right now. They no-shield that. I'm able to get to the second Hydro Cannon as well. And at this point, I think a close combat from Staraptor will KO, right? They are trying to overfarm, but I'm able to get to the third Hydro Cannon as well. This Hydro Cannon will be taking out the Grand Bull, and Giratina is basically just one Mud Shot away from fainting. Honestly, even if they had thrown the move there, I guess they were trying to build up to the back-to-back. But even if they had thrown the move there, Staraptor could have gotten off a close combat and taken it out there. So moving on to the next one here, we have a Talonflame on the lead. And at this point, I'm actually going to try and catch a move on my Politoed. Unfortunately, I don't time it correctly, so I'm going to have to shield the Flame Charge. And I'm going to try and catch the next charge move on my Politoed here. So we're just going to do overfarm a little bit more, and I'm able to catch, which is nice. This is a boosted Flame Charge, but still it is resisted, so not going to do too much damage. And now they make a switch into that Trevenant. Once again, they almost for sure have a Wall Rain in the back. Right? I know I said it last time, it wasn't a Wall Rain, but with a Talonflame and a Trevenant, it's almost for sure going to be a Wall Rain in the back. So anyways, I'm just going to try and get to this Blizzard here. I'm really hoping they no-shield this. But of course, they're going to shield that, which is unfortunate because now they... Yeah. At this point, I'm actually going to come in with my Staraptor right now and try and gain a little bit of energy. I just don't want to throw right away because I want that little bit of an energy advantage to threaten whatever they have in the back. Again, farming up just a little bit more and going for the Brave Bird here. Brave Bird will be one-shotting the Trevenant from this range. And then let's see what I'm expecting them to come back with Talonflame. This is where I make a huge mistake, right? They actually come in at their wall drain. If I knew that, I probably should have stayed in and gone for the close combat, because we definitely need, on even shields, there's no way Swampert can win this matchup. I go for the Earthquake, and then just to rub salt into the wounds, they actually catch the Earthquake on their Talonflame as well. That is very bad for me. So a couple of mistakes there. Throwing the Earthquake right away was one. Just blind switching into my Swampert was another. And at this point, there's no way we're going to be able to recover here. Though my only win con is if they somehow shield the Earthquake, hopefully thinking that we don't have a move on Staraptor, but they're probably not going to shield this. Yeah, I mean, that was honestly a smart play on their part, because they know Earthquake was not going to KO. And Icicle Spear will definitely take out my Swampert. And yeah, I know I can't really Gust farm this thing down, because they're pretty close to move. I probably should have attempted to. There's absolutely 0 point throwing the close combat anyway, so probably you can count that as the third mistake. I definitely threw that game, definitely a game I should have won. Ended up being a 4-1 set. Easily could have been 5-0 if I played that a little bit better. But as you can see, we went up against a lot of different top threats in the meta. We went up against Talonflame, Cresselia, Swampert, Registeel, and Tapu, Fini, and Muck, etc. And this team is honestly able to hold its own against a majority of the top threats that you'll see in the Ultra League meta. So anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.